The sound of a small child crying cut through the morning air like a siren on the dusty roadside of a quiet industrial town. Little Arlo, barely 6 years old, clutched the shattered remains of his toy truck. His cheeks were streaked with tears, his tiny fingers trembling as he looked up at his mother lying. On the ground, her name was Maya, a woman in her early 30s with soft eyes that hid years of silent endurance. She tried to rise, her lip bleeding, her hand clutching her stomach where the factory guard had struck her. Behind them stood 2 uniformed men from the steel factory where she worked, men who had just told her she'd been fired for asking about her unpaid wages that morning. Had begun like any other. Maya had taken Arlo to the factory gate, promising him that after her shift they would go to the market and buy him a new coloring book. But when she reached the supervisor's office, she learned she'd been replaced without notice. When she demanded the salary she had already earned, they mocked her, shoved her out, and one of them, in a fit of cruelty, crushed the toy truck Arlo held. In his hands the boy's cries had echoed down the street, and then, without warning, the man slapped Maya to the ground. That was the scene witnessed by a group of men on roaring motorcycles who happened to be passing by, a tight-knit crew known around town as the Iron Falcons. They were not troublemakers. As people whispered, they were men with rough hands and scarred pasts, bound together by loyalty and a code of honor. At their head rode Ronan Vance, a tall, broad man in his late 30s, with a weathered face and eyes that carried the quiet ache of someone who'd seen too much loss. He stopped his motorcycle abruptly, the screech of his tires cutting through the tension. The other bikers followed suit, engines rumbling like thunder. Ronan dismounted, his boots hitting the pavement. With deliberate weight he saw the boy's trembling shoulders, the mother's pain, the smugness on the factory men's faces, and something deep inside him snapped. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and standing up for what's right, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel Light of Kindness. Your support helps stories like this one reach hearts that still believe in humanity. Ronan knelt down beside Arlo, his gruff voice softening. He picked up one broken piece of the toy truck and turned it over in his calloused hand. Who did this? Little man, he asked. Arlo pointed silently toward the 2 men. In factory uni outside the office window, the sound of roaring engines grew louder. All 7 motorcycles revved in unison, their engines growling like beasts. Workers stopped what they were doing and looked up. The ground vibrated faintly with the rhythm of power, and Unity Hale's smirk faded. "I don't want trouble," he said, his voice trembling now. "You already made trouble," Ronan replied. "Now you fix it within minutes." Hale scribbled a check and handed it over with shaking hands. "There, take it. I don't want any problems." Ronan took it silently, then looked him dead in the eye. "One more thing," he said. "Tell your men to learn respect. If they ever touch another woman, we'll come back." When the bikers rode back through town, the people watched in stunned silence. Maya stood near the corner, holding Arlo's hand. The wind blew through her hair as she saw Ronan approach. He stopped beside her and handed her the check. "That's what they owed you," he said. Simply, she stared at the paper in disbelief, then at him. "Why would you do this for me?" she asked. Ronan shrugged lightly. "Because someone should have. Because there's a kid who deserves to see that good people still exist." He turned to Arlo and smiled faintly. "And because no child should have to watch their mother be hurt." Arlo, still clutching the broken toy, looked up and whispered, "Thank you." Ronan crouched beside him. "How about we fix that truck of yours?" he said. He waved over one of the bikers, a wiry man named Leo, who took the pieces, studied them, and promised to make it new again. In the following days, something remarkable happened. Word of the incident spread through town, and beyond the factory quietly changed some of its policies. Fearing more attention, Maya received apologies from other workers who'd been too afraid to speak before. For the first time in years, she felt seen. A week later, as the sun dipped low over the hills, Ronan and his crew returned. Arlo waited by the roadside, eyes wide with hope. Leo handed him the toy truck, now perfectly repaired, even repainted in bright red. "We added a little extra horsepower," he said with a grin. Arlo giggled, his face lighting up with joy. Maya's eyes filled with tears, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming kindness that had found her when she least expected it. Ronan turned to her one last time. "The world's got too many people who take," he said quietly, but sometimes you find a few who give back. Don't lose faith in that. He started his bike, the sunlight glinting off his jacket. The others followed, engines rumbling like a promise across the horizon as they rode away. Arlo waved his little red truck high in the air. Maya held him close, her heart full, knowing that day had changed something inside both of them for the first time in years. Hope didn't feel like a distant dream. It felt real, alive and roaring on. 2 wheels down an open road. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to Light of Kindness. Your support keeps true stories of compassion and courage alive for the world to see. And before this video ends, I'd love to know, in the comments, what act of kindness have you witnessed that restored your faith in humanity? Because sometimes one moment of courage can change a lifetime of pain. Forms. Ronan looked up, his eyes like steel. You hit her, he said to the guard. The man scoffed. She was trespassing. She got what she deserved.